paranormal, UFOs, monsters, mysteries. You're listening to Talking Weird. And now, from a cabin deep in the Northwoods, your hosts, Dr. Dean Bertram and Jen Durrell.
Well, hey, baby.
Baby.
I've got my super geek glasses on. I left them on my readers. Whole show. Does it make me look more intriguing?
Yes.
Yes.
Sexy.
You're like, no, it makes you look like a nerd. Get them off.
No.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting show tonight because we'll get to our guest in a moment. But I think we're going to he's been gracious enough to say he'll do some readings, and I think have you decided how you want people to approach you? Just so we'll say this up front for everybody, anybody out there who might want a reading. We're only going to do a couple because it's not going to be a reading show. We want to talk about as many experiences, but how would you like to handle it? You want people to message you or comment or?
They can comment, and then, if they have access to Streamyard, then we can let them on.
Okay.
If they want to show their face. If they don't want to show their face, then we'll just do comment. That's fine.
Okay.
Just
okay.
Depends.
Well, I would suggest they write a comment regardless then in StreamYard. So they have to log on to StreamYard.
Yes, you have to log on to
Facebook have
StreamYard.
access or something. Okay, that sounds good. So I think our regular listeners will be aware that last week we had two crises, a major one, which was that you had COVID, which was the more serious one, and my MacBook died. So now I have a new refurbished Mac. So I'm back on the air. But more importantly, how are you feeling? I'm sure everybody is more interested in your health than my computer situation.
Oh, I'm much better. Even though tonight I'm kind of feeling a little sick, but that's only because the weather changed and it was really windy yesterday and cold, and I was out in it for a while. So I'm thinking that might have been something to do with it. But I'm doing much better. Had a fever for like 4 days and the horrible cough. I've just now gotten rid of the cough. But I did end up losing my smell. I still have not gotten that back. Like I can literally put something up to my nose, like something really nasty and stinky, and I won't even smell it. So that's a little concerning.
Good grief. You mentioned, speaking of smells and strange smells, I was flabbergasted, to be honest, that you went back to work so quickly. I had no idea folks went back to work so quick after
10 days.
After COVID. Well, there you go. So, but you had a smell-related, perhaps paranormal experience at the, let's say, haunted location that you work in. I know you don't like me calling it that, but it seems to be. Well, tell me about the experience, or tell our audience about the experience anyway.
Well, yesterday we had a little issue with a light in one of the rooms. So that was the beginning when we turn on the lights in the beginning. So at the end of the day, we go back and we turn all the lights off. And as we were heading back that way, I went to that room to turn off the light. And I was hit with a smell, and it was odd because, well, I didn't think I could smell. So I kind of got excited. And then I asked the girl that was with me if she smelt it. She said she didn't smell it. So I wasn't sure what it was, but I heard patchouli or patchouli, something like that, and then potpourri. So I wasn't sure about that. And then later on, I left and went to the restroom, which is further away from the lodge. And I walked in there and I got a huge scent of cinnamon. I mean, it smelled like big red gum. So I was surprised by that as well. And went back into the car, and I actually did have some gum, and I put it up to my nose. I still couldn't smell it. So I can't smell anything. So I don't know why I was able to smell those two scents.
So while your physical sense of smell is gone, perhaps your psychic sense of smell was increased. And I was going to pretend I knew this before you told me the story, but I didn't.
Right.
I had to Google and look up what that psychic power is, and apparently it's called clairessence. So you're a clairessent then.
Yeah, apparently. I think there's another term too, but I don't know how to say it. What was it? Aliens or islands? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know I had that. So
clairescence sounds a lot a lot cooler and it's a lot easier to say.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, it's just some weird COVID after effect. Who knows?
Hey, yeah.
But speaking of clairescence and all of the various clairs, tonight's guest, he has had psychic abilities, which he dates back to the age of when he was 5. He's a psychic medium and an empath who is clairvoyant, clairsentient, and clairaudient. I wonder if he's clairescent as well. We'll have to ask him. He also has the ability to see auras, read tarot, has experience with remote viewing and paranormal investigation. And this is something I'm sure you'll be really interested to ask him about. He's also a shaman healer who's very interested in his native heritage. So without any further ado, I'm delighted to welcome to the show, Chris Garcia. Greetings, Chris.
Hi.
Pretty
How are you doing
good.
tonight?
I'm just happy to be on, and I'm doing good. I'm feeling good, and I'm very well rested. And it's just I was excited to be on. You know, it's my first time being on your show, and I just wanted to tell you both of you that you know, it's an honor to be on your show. And you know, if you know, like I said, if people want to ask questions, like y'all said, if they want to ask questions, they can write it in the chat. Now, if they don't want to show their faces, they don't have to. I'm really not picky about that. But if not, nobody doesn't want to ask anything, then we can just talk. I mean, to me, like I said, Dean, to me, it doesn't matter. I'm fine with whatever, you know, happens, because I just go with it. So.
So you have down that you were 5 when you had your first experience, or is that when you realized you had abilities?
Well, you can say that when I was 5, that's when I had my experience too.
Okay.
But I knew at that time I was different. I started feeling things. Like I actually had an experience with my first guide, which I called an imaginary friend. And then I want to say like after 5, 6, or 7 is when I had my, of course, abduction when I was young, and I was actually even asleep. And I know that I was in the ship. I remember just laying on my bed, and I was asleep, and I could see like my body on the bed, and I just flew up all the way up to and even though my astral self was being pulled, they were pulling me. I said, okay, why am I on the ceiling? And then I said, this is not me doing this. This is something else. So I went just like a vacuum. And before I know it, I was laying on the bed. I mean, on the metal, you know, table. I could not move my head. All I could just move was my eyes. And then I looked, and I want to say like 3 or 4 of them. They were like, 2 were like, their heads were big. There was one little one. I couldn't see if there was anything in front because they were blocking it. So I believe that there was other people in the ship. And I remember I asked them telepathically, I said, who are you and what am I doing in here? I said, and they said, we just want to do some experiment on you to see what you know and if you know who we are. And I said, yeah, you're not from this planet. So I just kept talking to them. And then I just was in disbelief. And then I did feel like there was other people in the ship. And then I remember just like I just blanked out. I blocked out. And then like the next day I woke up with a way that I never sleep. Don't even ask me because I don't remember how I woke up, but I did wake up with markings on my arms.
Oh.
Okay. And so when that happened, I know that some people, they say that you're not supposed to remember that experience, but I can remember it like yesterday, and it really did freak me out because I was like, I know this was an abduction. Most people think that when you see a spaceship that they can take you, but what people don't know is that they can even do it in your sleep. I've already had that happen to me twice. I could have probably been abducted more since I've
You just
gotten
don't
older
remember
because I feel like there's a connection. Yeah, and it's kind of like they
it.
blurred my memory with that.
Mhm.
And then I found out from a friend of mine, which makes perfect sense, that I have the alien DNA. So in my past life, I was an alien. So that kind of makes it more creepy. Um, and I've always felt like, to be honest with you, Gene, I've always felt like I was not from here. And I know
Mhm.
I've never been here, but I've always been here in all my lifetimes. But just being abducted and being a psychic child, I do feel that with us gifted people, there is a connection with aliens. I can't figure out what the connection is, but I do feel like some of them are our ancestors, but
Mhm.
some people just don't believe that they're around. But I do feel that they live in human form. So
Mhm.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find it.
You just open up a can of worms there.
I find that the what
I
I
know
find,
Dean's gonna
yeah,
go ahead.
what I find most interesting is that initial astral out of body experience that you had when the experience started. Do you think it can just be an astral experience, or is it or a spiritual experience, or it's definitely a physical experience as well as a spiritual experience?
Honestly, that is a good question. But in my heart tells me that it felt like I astro, but I feel like they had like they it's a different kind of pull to where they if they want to pull you, they can do it, and you're gonna they're gonna make you feel like you're astral traveling, but you're not. So it's kind of like they have that, and what I'm being told is that their technology and their way of getting to people that are abductees, we have an antenna with them. So we have a frequency. So if they want to get you, like if you're, say you're on the bed or if you're just sitting down, you're just like a vacuum. And they know who to call because I feel like they have our files and their data because their technology is way beyond our realm, way beyond our realm. And the fact that I just spent that little time with them, I want to say I was abducted the second time, but the second time I don't remember. But I've always felt that even when I'm going outside, I've always felt like they're around me all the time. Um, but that is a good question, Dean, because I do feel that that it's kind of hard for you to believe because some people just think that whenever you see a spaceship, you know, that's how they abduct you. But I'm being told no, they can do it with mind because they have a way of other powers, almost like ET. You know how like when ET made that flower grow
Mhm.
in that movie, they can do the
Uh-huh.
same thing. So it's kind of like they just get that pull and they just raise your hand and say, "We want Chris," and then. Zoop. So if they wanted to get you, Dean, or
Yeah.
anybody, they could do it. They can do
That
it.
leads to a second question, and that is, do you think, I know there's lots of different interpretations, but do you think the entities behind alien abduction are benevolent, or do you think they're malevolent? Like, are they good or are they bad? The creatures doing this.
Well, I want to say that with them, I could say that there is good ones and there's bad ones. But to know which ones you're coming across, that's really hard to tell. You have to research because there's the reptilians, there's the grays, there's the greens, that one that we always seen in cartoons.
Mhm.
Um, but I do feel that they know of each other, but the others have different agendas than what the others have. You know what I'm saying? There's some of them that probably are there to abduct. There's some other ones that are there to study the brain of the human body, which I'm being told. I don't know why they would do that, but that's what I'm being told. And then there's others that they want to know how much we know either about them or about the world itself. like Bigfoot, and that's a whole nother story. But but they just want to know how much knowledge you have and data that you have.
Huh. I'm
Yeah.
always I'm always in two minds about the abduction experience. I think that there are genuine abduction experiences. Like I've talked to enough people now to know that people are having some kind of experience. But a part of me suspects that the entities behind it are tricksterish or demonic in that they present themselves as something that they might not be. And I know there's not a lot, that's an exaggeration. There's a number of Christian type theologians who also suspect that alien abduction might be the same type of experiences that were had, say, in the Middle Ages with succubuses and incubuses and things visiting people in the night. Do you see any correlation with that? That there might be a demonic component of alien abduction?
I mean, I think that if a demon or any other stuff, they can mess with us, but with aliens and with said, I do feel that they don't fool around with demons. That's my feeling. But they're aware of other beings. It's just that they like, and it's funny that you bring that up because there's been this story, and I do feel that it's true. And this is what's so crazy. And I'm gonna change the subject, but I'm gonna go back and forth. Is that I do believe that these Bigfoots that we see are people that have seen sights of them. I want to say at least 100% that those are not Bigfoots; those are aliens. But they shapeshift. There's even people that have seen like they'll say like they'll see a spaceship somewhere, and then they don't see like alien come out. But I've heard from other people that they've seen like right after the ship leaves, they tend to see maybe Bigfoot around, and they think, isn't there a connection to Bigfoot and alien? And that's a whole different species. But to me, I believe that they're the same species. It's just that they have a different way of. Okay, that was weird. I'm actually getting messages. The way that they want to represent themselves to us. So in order to keep the people away and they'll be curious, is to more represent themselves as a hairy creature feature, because they don't want us to get too close. And then with that foul odor that I've heard that they smell like a skunk or something dead, that's their way of keeping us away from them. But they are aware of us when we enter their domain or their territory, is what I would call it.
Huh. That is another whole can of worms going.
Yes,
down.
I know it.
Here's the problem. I'll start talking UFOs and Bigfoot with you all night, and then Jen won't get a word in about the more psychic and supernatural probably aspects of what you were interested in talking about. So I one other thing I'll ask, and gee, this is something I know you would have asked, Jen. I'm stealing it now.
Okay,
but I was interested that you in fact, you should ask about his native heritage, because I know that's something which is always fascinating to you, Jen. The shamanism and Chris's native background.
Oh, well, I mean, what I'm curious really is, how did you have a mentor? I mean, how did you learn to control your abilities? I mean, how did you learn?
You know what? What's funny? What's crazy about that, Gene, is that when I learned about my gifts, I didn't really have no mentor. Except I had my friend Donna. She's on Facebook. I met her. For somehow she found me. She's still on Facebook. We just got reconnected. But as far as like, or when I was at home, my grandmother was gifted, but she never got the time to teach me my gifts. Or my mom never had that time to teach me, even though my mom's still alive. But my grandmother never really had that time to do it, I guess, because she wanted me to be a child and just to blossom like a flower on my own. So when I was young, between the ages 5 and 10, everything I had to learn on my own. like knowing that I was different. I knew that I was talking to spirit. And then when it hit me, I did have a mentor, was a little bit when I was in my 20s, because I'm older. I'm not gonna say how old I am, but I'm pretty sure you have an idea. But I did have a mentor for a while. She taught me how to connect to the Aztec records, the Soctic records. She taught me to test me to read her friends with remote viewing, just to tell me their first name. And she tested me and she told me, I want you to look up different things. And then I started realizing that she knew a lot of my life that I look back at and I'm like, damn, you know so much within that short time. She knew, and I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. She knew that me and her were in Atlantis. We were in Atlantis. She also told me I was a star seed, which I can validate that. Um, I was also working with crystal skulls. For some reason, I was so drawn to them. I've always been drawn to pyramids, which I found out a past life I was connected to Egypt. But as time goes on, I've always learned different parts of my life. Like in all my lifetimes, I was always female. I had a past life in Salem. I had a past life in New Orleans. So with all that stuff, just grasping all that information, she said, I didn't want to scare you, but I just took baby steps. And the more that I started learning, she goes, you know what? I, you're like my student, but I feel like, you're like my brother because we connected. And then when it was that time, she told me, Chris, I know this is going to probably hurt you, but I have to cut the cord for you. And I'm like, why, Donna? Because he was a good friend of mine. And she said, because I feel like I taught you all the tools to enhance your gift. And then we lost a touch for maybe about, I say maybe 3 years. We lost in touch. She just recently just came back. And the last time we talked, she was like, oh my God. She goes, all that stuff I taught you. I've been watching you behind the scenes of different shows that you do. And you've evolved. And she was, my job was done. I'm here as a person that was a mentor to teach you with a certain amount of time, because you learned your gifts when you were little, but I wanted to know how much ahead you were with all the stuff that you were grasping, everything I was telling you. So to be honest with you, I really didn't have, not even with the shaman, the shaman part, I didn't have anybody to do that either. That I learned as I was mentoring to connect to my Indian ancestors and stuff like that. So everything mostly that I can say 100%, I had to learn on my own. I didn't have nobody to teach me and sit here and have time and say, okay, Chris, you need to do this and do this. I had to just be quick and learning and stuff. And then from there, I use everything that I know and I share it with the world. So when I do readings, I have different guides that come in. Most of the time, it's my grandmother. I know she talks to me. Also, I have a native shaman that comes to me. And then I also have a chief guide that comes to me, depending on the situation at hand. So they come when they're supposed to. So.
So how do you protect yourself when you encounter something that's not very nice? Especially when you're doing investigations.
I guess you could say I just protect myself with the light of God and protect myself and just keep myself grounded. I guess that just came automatically to where I knew how to protect myself, and I never really. Oh, where did he go? Okay, that was weird. He left. Yeah, but I really didn't. I know. I was like, "What the hell?" But yeah. But it's been crazy because I really didn't have, the support, with having anyone teach me. But as time went on, I realized that I learned everything on my own, and I love that I learned, and I learned from other people, even still learning more. Mm-hmm. And it means so much to me because I've had other people read me and they say, you know what's weird about you? You feel like you have the world on your hands and you feel like you have to help everybody. And the thing that you got to understand is you cannot help everyone, but you're
Yeah.
so loving that you're a loving person that you want to just help everyone. But you can only help the ones that you are coming across or interacting with. So, I mean, but I just do the best I can with the, helping people. And then with the investigations, I pick which ones I choose to go to. Most of the time, I have not rejected any of them, but I'm more like get messages before I go, um, to to connect to the stuff. So I know which ones I should, if they want a consultation, I'll give them a little one. But I do say if it's out of my realm, like demonology, then I won't mess with it. I will tell them that there's this and this and this. But if it's without my realm, then I'll say, you know what, there's a demon in this house, and I don't mess with that crap. So I refer them to demonologists or people that I know. So it just depends on the cases that are all different. So it varies.
Hmm. So I mean, like
So,
protection
but
rituals or anything like that. I know some people use crystals or sage or anything like that. I mean, like before and after you
yes,
go
I
into
do a
a
lot of
meditation.
that.
Okay.
Yes, I do a lot of different things, but the thing is that I change it up. I don't always do the same thing. Like sometimes I'll use sage crystals, protection bracelets that I know symbolize protection. Um,
Mhm.
it just really depends on um, what I'm being told to use at the time. I've even had because over here where I'm at, they have a lot of witchy stores. So I use protection soaps. I use even lotions. I've done a mixture of different things depending on what my guys are telling me to do. So I do it in different ways. I don't always do the same thing. I like to change it to where it makes it kind of just interesting.
Yeah. So before you do a reading, do you meditate? I mean, or is it just like automatically?
Honestly, well, for me, it comes automatically. That's what's crazy. I connect. There's people that have to meditate, but for me, it just comes like I'm going to give you an example. When even though I didn't know you, and I know you've been on my Facebook for quite some time, um, one thing I will tell you, and I'm just going to do a little example on you. Okay, I'm going to wait
Mhm.
till he comes back, but hopefully he can come back because I know Streamyard can be sometimes weird.
Yeah.
One thing that I was allowed to tell you is I do feel that I know that you're gifted already. I already know that. But one thing they were telling me was that you have this, I want to say like a degree, or you have this, and I don't know if you're looking into it, but I see like a frame, and I actually want to say it's psychiatrist. So it's like you're using your gifts with psychiatrists. I feel like through your throat chakra, I feel like you have the ability to help people that are abused. Is what they're telling me. My grandmother's telling me that,
Mhm.
and I do feel that you don't just use that. You use your gifts, the psychic and the medium, but you also want to use it to give back to society. And I feel like it's more of they're telling me that you've used your gifts with people that I guess that don't know what you do. I see children that are abused is what I'm seeing with that.
Mhm.
Uh, and I see like, hold on. I actually want to say like people that have been molested.
Mhm.
I didn't want to say that, but they told me to say it. I can't hold that back. And I
Mhm.
feel that you would be also Okay, they're telling me that too. They're telling me that you would have, even though you don't say this, but I see law enforcement around you. So that tells me you work for the cops too. So that just gives you an example of what I picked up, just like that. You don't have to tell me the validation. You can tell me either now or behind when we're done with the show. So it's up to you. I don't, but that's what they're telling me. Now, if you want me to keep going, I'll keep going. But there's other things I pick up, but I'm just giving you how I work.
Yeah. Well, that could be possibly futuristic. I mean, like, I have been pretty closed off for quite a while, and I just recently started taking kind of a course with a certain psychic medium that's helping me to learn how to unblock my chakras and reopen up and trust and all of that. So I'm going through that right now. So it's a possibility that's something
that is crazy. But
Mhm.
you know what's weird is that when I look at you, even though they weren't telling me to look at your chakras, but they said that even though you closed yourself out,
Mhm.
to me, they said that you have this, like this doubtness in you. But as you being, just talking to you right now, what I was told to tell you is don't second guess yourself. I do feel like for you, even though you have a psyche that's teaching you to unblock your chakras, they're telling me that you're a natural to it. So it should be just automatically connecting. But the reason why they're probably saying that you kind of blocked it is either because there's trauma, because I feel like there's trauma around you, but that's more personal. I'm not going into that. And I do feel that you have kind of like had boundaries around you, so you don't allow just anyone to read you. So that's the feeling I'm getting just right now for some reason.
Yeah. That's a possibility. I'm really good at walls. Let's just put it that way. I'm really good at that. So I'm learning to let it go.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
I just saw we had somebody
it's
called
crazy.
Rada asking for a reading too.
Huh?
I just saw a message from a Rada. I would like to get a reading. Thanks.
Oh, okay. I see now.
I didn't even see anything. I guess I didn't see anything. I guess because it's not on my end either, because they're not my friend or.
Yeah, they popped in. I put in the link because somebody asked about it. So I thought if they pop in, then I can let them in if they want. But
okay, what's the name?
Rada.
What is the name?
R-A-D. Rada. R-A-D-H-A.
We have like they're right here actually. Just they don't have a picture.
Hi everyone.
Okay.
Hi,
Hello.
Rada.
Okay, well.
It's my first
that's the thing I was
time
getting.
here.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet everyone
Okay,
too.
well, I
I'm
don't know.
from Toronto, Canada.
But what? Okay. What I was gonna tell you, I do feel that they have the justice card that came up, and I do feel that there is something about you and having justice. I actually want to say there is kind of like I'm getting like that Libra energy with you. And then I'm being told that there's going to be challenges within your life, is what I'm seeing. But I'm being told that you will outcome them. Also, you have, hold on. Okay, that was where I actually heard mom or grandmother around you. She guides you into what you do. I'm actually even told that you actually don't want to be there. Like, I feel like you want to either move or you want to learn more and you want to gain more knowledge of things that you go through. And then with the totems, because I do totem readings, by the way. I didn't tell anyone that, but I was told to tell you that you have the coyote as the trickster. So that means that someone is not really there to. Okay, they're telling me that. That's weird. To instead of teaching you, they're there to really trying to gain something from you. So I would say just keep a lookout on that, because this person that I'm being told is a person that is very deceiving and someone that you cannot trust. And I was told to, because they're showing me the fox card, and they're telling me to tell you that you need to make yourself invisible, to have camouflage around you, so to not to blend too much. Because I'm being told whatever you know, they're trying to get something from you. So it's kind of like that feeling that I got. It's like I'm being told that you need to camouflage, but kind of use protection camouflage. Can you hear me? I don't know if is that her mic or is that mine?
You're muted, Jen. You're muted. Are you there, Rada? I'm not sure if you can hear Chris or myself.
I don't know. I don't know. I heard like static.
Nope. I thought I heard somebody.
Can you hear me
I
now?
couldn't hear.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, sorry. Yeah, whatever you said, like you said, Justice card and Libra card, right? So I was dealing with
Mm-hmm.
somebody in the past, like 9 months ago in March, who was a Libra, and I did cut him off because, like, he was a good friend, but I did cut him off because he was acting a little bit deceiving.
Oh,
Wow. Okay, thank you for the validation. Now
But
that you say that, for
I
some
don't
reason,
know.
I don't know if you could hear, but go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to cut you
Go
off,
ahead.
but I don't know. Like, I have been like these past 5 years, I have been really trying to manifest love, like a long-term relationship and committed relationship. But like whoever I meet, like either doesn't want that. So I'm just like for this, like for November, December, like whole 2021. I've just like right now stopped. Like
Mm-hmm.
I decided today in the morning, okay, I'm not gonna go after anyone. Okay, I'm gonna just cleanse and rejuvenate my energy. So I don't. You said that that somebody was trying to be foxy. I'm not really aware of that person. I don't know if it's like somebody
Well,
romantically or somebody like just platonically, like in my life.
yeah, I'm being told that maybe that person hasn't came up yet. That's what I was told. Okay. And the thing is that when I showed you that, when I looked at the justice card, that person that you were saying about deceiving, I'm being told that if you would have been talking to him, there would have been some kind of justice to where you would have had to put either a restraining order on him or some kind of legal issues. So the fact that you cut him off, I think it benefited you. So that cord is already cut off. Okay. Now, as far
Mm,
as like their love life, I would say I could read energy with your love, if you want me to. But they're telling me at this specific time,
yeah.
I would say just don't look for it and just let it come to you. But one thing I will tell you, and they're allowing me to say this, hold on. Okay, when will she find love? Okay, well, something tells me that I keep hearing March for some reason. Maybe that's a long time from now. I guess it's because they're knowing that you're trying to manifest things. So it might take a while for this person to come around. So that's why I kept getting March, and I want to say probably by spring break or the beginning of March. So what I was told to tell you during the meantime, um, okay, I would recommend wearing a rose quartz,
Mm-hmm.
either a hard rose quartz if you can find a hard rose quartz, and stick it in
Okay.
your shirt. And what that's gonna do is gonna open the heart chakra for you, but then it's
Oh,
also gonna bring love and people being interested in you. But if you get the rose quartz before you put it on, they're telling me to put your intentions when you grab the rose quartz to be very specific on what you want. So what I
okay.
would say just to be very careful and to say that you want a gentleman, you want a person that's honest, you want a person that's very sincere, and all this other stuff. So just know that you put in that intention and that rose quartz, and then when you put it on, I want to say that it's gonna open doors for you. But I would say don't push it and just let it
Okay.
come to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I had one more question
And,
because the person that I was dealing with in earlier this year, he's still kind of in my energy, and I do miss him. Um,
mm-hmm,
I do tarot cards too, so so and like I do get like messages sometimes. So I heard that he
mm-hmm.
might come around like maybe beginning of January or like ending of December this year. So I don't know if like w- like what should I do, or like what's my next actions should be to deal with that person. Is this person good for me? Like the Libra. I'm a Virgo.
I would say to I would say to take your time to think about it and just let it flow. I wouldn't really worry too much. But that person, even though you say he caused you issues, but even though you
He
miss
didn't.
him, I actually want to say that he actually did. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. Like I don't know if it was my fears from the past, like relationships that came up. Um, I don't know. Like I never met him. It was just like online, but I did feel a connection with him. And I did think of him as a family. So like I don't know if it was my fears or he caused me issues. It was just like so chaotic, basically. Like,
I was told that he was your lover in the past. Now, in the past life. So, with you being hurt in relationships, even if he did come in your life, I think it would be hard for you to trust him. But I would say to do some clearing first and work on you before you do anything. I would say to do some heart chakra clearing and to
okay,
put something on your okay, hold on your crown chakra to clear that, to have your mind to be have more clarity. So I'm being told get a clear quartz and put it on your forehead and manifest that energy to to remove that confusion. Okay, and I
yeah,
do
it
feel
was the
that
trust,
by the time
basically.
that
Yeah,
that time frame, yeah, so you can start trusting people, because if you cut him off, I mean, know that you're always going to have this issue with men
yeah, I
or
have,
people that
yeah,
enter your yeah. So I would say just
yeah,
to do some
cut a
clearing
lot
and
of
to kind
people.
of
Yeah,
yeah. So I would say just to use some clear quartz to clear out that cloudiness, because I'm actually seeing like a dark cloud over your head. So that's probably giving you like confusion, and it's kind of like messing with your mind. So I would say to use clear quartz is the best thing to remove that clearing.
Okay,
And then
thank you so
and
much.
then if he comes back, it's because you're welcome anytime.
Thank you, Radha.
Sorry, I cut you off. You were saying something?
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, thank you so much for that, Chris. I'd love to, though, get back to something we were talking about in the green room, which I don't know if you're happy to share or not, but I found it fascinating. Before, we were talking about what happened recently in Texas in the Astro World concert, I think it's called, and that led into a discussion about how you felt there'd been some type of, perhaps, I don't know, like a psychic or a spiritual change around the end of October. Could you tell our audience a little bit about that feeling that you had?
Honestly, with October the 30th, I felt like this weird feeling that came over me, and I actually want to say that I got this like nodding feeling for some reason. It just felt very, very uneasy, and I just felt like there was going to be more after the 31st, which I told you what happened with the neighbor. I heard cries, and I do feel that there is a lot of people that actually want to talk. And with the energy, it just seems like, I mean, I know that people know that the veil, as the years go by, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. But, you know, to me, it just felt like more of disaster. And I feel like the best way to do what I feel is like more of I'm not saying the earth is going to burn, but I keep getting these images in my head that it's just, I keep seeing fire. And when I think of fire, I think of Satanism. I think there's a lot of worship that's going to be, people be dealing with that kind of stuff. And it's funny because right now as I'm talking about it, my stomach is getting in knots. So that must be something that I'm tapping into. There's been some other people that have felt this feeling, and they've asked me, like, how bad is it going to get? Well, I think with humanity and people, I feel like a lot of people are not walking in spirit, and people that don't do of what the law of above, they're going to be living in the flesh. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's more of, if you connect with spirit and you connect with truth and the divine universe, you're going to connect to God, you're going to connect to your elders, you're going to connect to your archangels. But if you cannot open your eyes and know that there is something other than what you can physically see, I think people are going to have a rude awakening to the ones that don't believe that there is such thing as medium psychics and that there is life after death, which there is life after death. But I just feel like people need to be more aware of what's coming, because that has surfaced. God has been here for a long, long time, but I feel, and even what I've noticed with the weather has been kind of just so off. Like, we've had thunders where it's like thunder so loud that you could feel the vibration. Even when one time, I'm not joking, I had one time when I was asleep, I heard this thunder so loud that it actually shook my room. And I said to myself, I guess God is mad, or the angels up there are pissed off at everybody, because people are not paying attention to the weather patterns, the climate change. And I do feel that with people not paying attention, there's going to be a lot more death. Not due to COVID, but due to people not listening to to the universe and giving love to Mother Earth and respecting what we have here and not abuse. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I was told to tell you, Dean.
Do you think then, certainly Christian eschatology, there's the sense of the last days or the end of time, and I know with all of the chaos and strife that the world seems to face at the moment and has been facing certainly for the last several years, do you have a sense that there is an end times type date approaching? Is there a finality coming?
Actually, with all the stuff that's been going on, I feel like there's a lot of fertility. There's going to be a lot of people that are just going to go insane. And I think a lot of people, just the ones that really don't want to be here, they're going to be doing stupid shit. Like, I'm actually even being told, too, that there's been a lot of people that have attempted to kill themselves, because I'm being told that that was weird. Hold on. Okay, they're telling me that the angel of death is coming to collect people. I don't know what the angel of death has to do with, but I do feel that he has a contract, and they're showing me that he is coming for certain people. He has a lot of work that needs to be done. But with everything going on, I feel like there's so much evil in this world that I feel like we're actually making this earth more dangerous. And I do feel that if we do not awaken from what we realize in reality, I feel that we're actually getting very, very close to the end of days. So it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
It does seem like that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of, there's not very much positive happening
Not lately.
in the world today. Not that I can see.
No,
It's just like one thing right after the
no,
other.
it's not.
Yeah,
and it's weird that you say that. Yeah, because it's bad. Because to me, I think within the time that all these crimes that I've seen, I can say that this year is the worst. I actually want to say that this year is the worst. And you know what's kind of weird? I want you to think about this, okay? And I'm not racist or anything, but just let me tell you that if you look back to the movie 2012, I want you to think of something, just the numbers by themselves. Okay? Flip the numbers around and see what you get. Flip the numbers 2012 and flip the numbers around, and what do you get?
Yeah. Wasn't there like a prophecy?
2021. If you flip the numbers from yes, that means that there is a change coming. That means that there's more disaster. So it's kind of meaning that there is more something, that there is something, like you said, prophecy. There's a lot of prophecy that I see, that there is something that is lingering in the air, and it's causing all these people to where it almost seems like there's a lot of mind control going on. I don't know why, but that's what I'm being told, that there's a lot of mind control. And with that being said, I actually want to say that at least 94%, I want to say that some of this weird, chaotic behavior from people has something to do with the 5G. Even though you might not believe me, but that's what I'm being told.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I've certainly heard those theories. I'm certainly suspicious also of, when you talk about mind control, I think beyond anything particularly strange and sinister, the influence of the mainstream media on people is so vast today that it's not difficult to see that there's a system in place where you send out a message and you repeat it again and again and again. It doesn't even have to be subconsciously, that people just pick up and parrot the talking points. That's at least the way that I tend to see a broader mind control system working. It's propaganda, in other words. You know, it's something that that was probably mastered almost 100 years ago, but we're still doing it.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy too is that, with that being said, a lot of people, which they say that a lot of this stuff is coming back from back in the old days when God was born. So a lot of the stuff that we did not witness when God was created and when the earth was created, we're actually doing a repeat of what happened in World War One and World War Two. So it's almost like we're going through this. Okay, I'm getting chills. Woo, I'm getting chills. Okay, we're going through a revolution of change. I don't know what y'all feel about that, but that's what I'm being told. There's something with revolution. There's a big revolution, and it's just so weird that we're talking about this, because I do feel like with the astral war thing, you know, for those people, this is what I see. For the parents, personally, I don't feel like they should have allowed them to go to that concert, because I do feel like whatever was in that area caused all that chaotic, and for people just to have a heart attack and die. I do feel like there was a lot of evil in that area, and there was not anything positive. It was more to like just to get rid of, is what I'm being told, which I don't know why I'm being told that, but that's what they're telling me, is that whatever was meant to happen there was to get rid of people. And I'm being told that the word that pops up in my head is population. The population of people needs to be decreased. And it's crazy because when you really think about it, people are dying like flies. So if you think about it, I do feel that with people dying, it gives, and I don't want to talk about anything of politics because I'm being told that we're not careful. Yeah. That it could save the people with a hire to save money so they don't have to cough it up.
That certainly rings true to me, the idea of, and then we can go down a number of rabbit holes, but the idea of people being killed and a depopulation perhaps agenda. There certainly seems to be, I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't that doesn't go too far down the rabbit hole. But there certainly seems to be a desire to bring the population to a level which is more sustainable. So we hear about sustainability an awful lot, and then we see people like Bill Gates giving TED Talks where they have an equation on the screen talking about how we need to limit either emissions or people or whatever. And then one of these has to be limited to zero. So there often seems to me to be beneath a lot of what sounds like earth-friendly agendas. There often seems to be a lot of the sense that we need less people. And that always worries me because I love people. I don't want a population reduction. And often I think it's very easy for people in the Western world to go, oh, we need less people. Yeah, well, how are we going to get less people? What does that actually entail? So when you talk about this psychic idea of, you know, that there might be something coming, which is a reduction in population. It rings true to me, forget about on a political level or on any kind of level like that, but it certainly rings true to me on that type of feeling level that you're talking about as well, I think, Chris.
And you know what's crazy? And I'm going to tell you something, Dean. Listen to this. I'm going to add a little creepiness to this, okay? With population, this is how I see it. I do feel that with the population, they're gonna put us in categories, okay? And what they're gonna do is that they're gonna pick the ones that they feel are more, okay, I don't know why I'm being told this, but this is what I'm being told. That we're more of a threat to the other people, which I'm not gonna say who they are, but you pretty have an idea of what I'm talking about. What they're going to do is try to get rid of people that have knowledge and too much wisdom to share, because what they want to do to those people is exactly just that. So what I'm being told with that is that what they want to do is get rid of psychics. They want to get rid of the mediums. They want to get rid of the clairvoyants and so on and so forth. So with that, if they get rid of all the people like us, then what do the people have left to ask to talk to their loved ones? That means that they don't have anybody if they get rid of us.
Mm-hmm. I think there's certainly a desire to remove any type of alternative, independent thought today. That seems to me to be the direction that we go in this increasingly corporate controlled world where there's global news talking points which are parroted on every nation on the planet. And it seems like there's no room for dissent anymore, whether that's, as you were saying, people who have a spiritual type of dissent, or whether it's people who have a political type of dissent, or whether it's people who have a health or a medical or lifestyle type of dissent. It seems like there's certain things we can and can't say and certain things we can and can't do. And if you step outside of the bounds, then, yeah, the weight of the powers that be might come crushing down. Anyway, on that very cheery note, we've hit our hour. Chris, you're a fascinating guest. Can you tell us how our audience get a hold of you, or how they follow what you're doing, or how they reach out?
Well, if they want to reach me on my cell phone, my personal cell phone, because I do give that out, is to reach me at 210-974-3470. Again, 210-974-3470. Or you can reach me at Chris and Kate Garcia on Facebook, or my email, garcia187bluelove@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram. I have 2 Instagrams. I have Twitter and TikTok, and I have another one. I can't think of the name right now. It's called Linking or something like that, but you can find me on different platforms. And the way I suggest, what you can do to find me is first of all, type in my name on Google, and it should pop in like it's either Psychic Chris Garcia, or you can just put Psychic Garcia. It should pop up. Now, if that doesn't work, I would say just to save my number, and then if you have other apps that I just mentioned, then it'll give you friend suggestions, and that should pop up on your notifications.
Well, thank you, Chris. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on and chatting with us, and for taking doing an actual reading on the show, and for all of your and for all of your many insights. Until we chat to you again.
You're welcome.
You keep it weird, mate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're interested in checking out more episodes, you can find us at talkingweird.com. If you haven't already, please like the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Talking Weird Podcast. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to Talking Weird. We're available on most podcast platforms and YouTube. And if you do enjoy the show, please leave us a review. Dean and I would really appreciate it. Until then, stay safe and keep it weird.